Welcome everybody to Connecticut for the at Lime Rock Park for this week's edition of the Sports Car Challenge. And I am apparently solo once again. I'm CubeCast here in the booth, and with me is our producer behind the scenes. I guess he's doing the old telephone thing where he's unplugging wires and plugging the wires back into other holes. I don't really know how that works. But I assume that's what he's doing back behind the scenes. But anyway, we're here at Lime Rock Park, the beautiful Pocono Mountains, I think, the Appalachians, whatever mountain range we're in. But we're here to have a fun time with some beautiful race cars and a beautiful track, a historic track nonetheless. And it's a fantastic day to watch some racing. Right now, we are watching the end of qualifying, about 3 minutes remaining in the session for these guys. And Christian Challoner currently at the top of the timing charts. He's at the top of the charts with a 49.492, and he is just flying out there tonight. Janney currently second place, and so far these guys making mincemeat of this track. It's the shortest track, basically shortest road course on all of iRacing. But it's a ton of fun to drive. It's one of my favorites on the service, and overall, it's a blast to work your way around. That's a look at the 113 of Michael Janney for Livewire SimSport, Sequential SimSport. I can't remember what the team name is. You're too late into the season. I should probably know that by now, but I don't. I'm a slacker. You can yell at me all you want in the chat because that's what I'm here for. I'm just your punching bag tonight. But anyway, 2 minutes left, and Christian Challoner still on top, and he is out there on track. There you see him making moves and trying to get through as much traffic as he possibly can. He's a very skilled driver. He's right now second in the points, and right behind him in terms of qualifying order is the guy in front of him in the points. That's the 113 of Michael Janney. Cody Cosgrove currently sits third in qualifying, followed by the newcomer to the series this season at least, is Savian Ragster. You might recognize that name. He was in the series a couple of seasons ago, took a year off, and now he is back here in the Penguin RC Sports Car Challenge for this race presented by Seth Rawls Designs. So shout out to Seth for sponsoring this race. We see him in a couple of other series here in the Nitro Circus League. So shout out to Seth for sponsoring this week's event, and also have to thank groups like Major's Garage for sponsoring part of this season. They are helping power this series, as well as Nitro Circus, Penguin RC, and just about everybody behind the scenes here at North American Simulated Auto Racing. But still, Challoner, he's not able to improve on his lap, but he is out in front, and he's doing a good job of that, just kind of putting down some solid lap times. Last lap was 4 1,000ths off of his fastest lap. He's using every inch of track available, and he is doing everything he can to try to improve. He's going to have one last shot here, as we are now at 41 seconds left here in qualifying. So this is going to be his final shot at it. Can he improve? His tires are worn down. He's been out there for about 5 laps now, so not going to be able to get much more out of the car. Going to have to see if he can't improve. Not too far in front of him on track is Michael Janney, currently going through the chicane. He might be able to, I don't know, he's not going to get, he's going to pull off, so that's going to be the end of his qualifying session. So that's it for him. Other drivers on track right now, looks like his teammates are in the pits as well. The 54 of Kevin Fanning currently sits in P5. He is going to have one final shot at this. Going to see what he can do. This is another Matco Tools car that we're looking at right here. This is the 54. Sorry, I'm seeing a different paint job on mine. But yeah, you see him going through for the final time. This is going to be his last shot at it. The car up in front of him is Steve Lane, and Steve has not turned in the best qualifying. He's currently sitting in 10th, so he's right up there as well. Just kind of trying to see if he can improve. Kevin Fanning, though, is in 5th, and he's on an absolute flyer right now. Can he go any faster than the 5th spot? No, he's going to pull straight into the pits. Looks like a couple other drivers just crossed. Now Steve Lane, he does not improve. He does improve, but doesn't gain any positions. So he stays in 10th. Looks like the only driver left on track is Harley Moss in the 13. He's currently in the 14th position, but I think he did not cross the line in time, so this lap should not count, but not entirely sure there. He's now working his way through the chicane, and by the time the session ends, he is not going to make it back across the line. So Harley Moss will not improve his time, and he's going to start from the 14th position. But as we get set for our one pace lap here, let's take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Christian Chandler going to start on the pole with the inside line, followed by Michael Janney, then Cody Cosgrove on the inside of row number 2. Then Savian Ragster, the newcomer to the league this season, is going to start P4. Kevin Fanning and Ray Kingsbury make up row number 3. And then it's Michael Holler and Matt Kingsbury in row number 4. Then Cody Erdman and Steve Lane, row number 5. Followed by Jack Belton and David Schofield. Harley Moss and Brandon Lambert take up row number 7. And then Tim Brokaw, Jeffrey Wallace, Asphalt Dennis, and Brian Son, with Justin Robichaux wrapping up the field here, starting in 19th place. So a little smaller field tonight than we're used to seeing here in the the Penguin RC Sports Car Challenge. I'm mixing up all of our series sponsors here, but 19 cars, I think that's the smallest field we've seen all season, and I think it's fitting because we're at the smallest track we'll see as well. But the guys up front, they're getting set to take to the grid, and I am looking forward to this one. I think that the addition of Savian Ragster to the grid is going to make things very interesting, just because he is a very talented driver. We've seen him competing at the front of the series for we've seen him not last season, but the season before, and he's done a great job here in the sports car. So it's great to see him joining. He did join actually last minute, just was added to the league not too long ago. Let's see real quick, because I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this? He joined with Team Livewire Sim Sports, so he is on the team with Michael Janney, Cody Cosgrove, and I believe Cody Erdman's the other driver on that team. Maybe I'm mixing my drivers up here, but I know at least it's going to be Ragster, Cosgrove, and Janney starting 2, 3, and 4. So 2, 3, and 4 there for Team Livewire Sim Sports. Always love to take a look at some beautiful paint jobs out here. The 64 of Michael Holler, if we can get a look at him real quick. He's repping the Chicago flag across the roof of that car. So great little paint job there from Michael, and great to see him starting 7th here tonight. I believe that's one of his top starting positions of the season. And right next to him on the outside on the outside of row number 4 is Matt Kingsbury as well. Matt Kingsbury, he is repping the same paint he has all season, but this is the first time he's going to be at his home track. This is the Kingsbury twins' home track here on iRacing at Lime Rock. They're just from upstate, downstate Connecticut. I don't know. They're from Connecticut, so I know that they're going to be having a blast out there. That's why Ray is not in the booth with me. Ray is starting right in front of his brother Matt, so a little bit of bragging rights there, say I qualified better, but can he finish the race better? Out of the final corner they come, and now we just wait patiently for the green flag to come out. Drivers get their revs ready. They're ready to hit the hammer down, and green flag is out, and we are underway here for the Seth Rawls Designs Grand Prix from Lime Rock Park, and starting to get things heated just a little bit already. 3 wide into turn number 1 further back, but Ray Kingsbury going to hold on to that 5th position for the moment, and he is very, very heavy on throttle. He gets on the brakes now going into turn number 2, almost gets into the back of Savian Ragster, but these guys making mincemeat of this track already, working their way up towards the chicane. And there you see just about everybody single file. It's not the best opportunity to make a move here at this track. We're going to have to see how things play out as this race goes on. But Christian Chandler so far up at the front, and then Janney, and then Cosgrove, then Ragster. This is a little further on back. That's the 111 of Tim Brokaw. He spun, it looks like, all on his own, so he is going to have some work to do to catch back up to the field. But it is a long race still, just a minute in. And we've got another car off. That's the 25 of Ray Kingsbury. Let's see if we can't take a look at the replay, see what happened to Ray, because I know he is not going to be happy about that one. He's got a ton of damage to the left rear. Ray, what happened out there?
You know how last season, you know how I was telling you the McLaren really does not like touching the grass? Well, I put about 1% of the left rear tire on the grass, and that resulted in chaos for the car.
Yeah, you hit the wall very hard there. Any chance that you getting back out there tonight?
Not looking very likely. There's mandatory repairs, which is a shame because we were pretty fast.
Well, that's unfortunate. I know that this is your home track, and that sucks to see. It looks like the number 46 of Brandon Lambert, he's going to work his way down pit road as well. And we got another car off track. That's Savian Rags with the newcomers. Everybody's piling up down there.
Maybe we're going to get this car repaired then. Multiple
cars off track at turn number 1. The track is wet, as they might say in the NASCAR world. But that's unfortunate. Oh, look, yeah, he just went around on his own. Looks like maybe multiple drivers trying to avoid that are what spun back behind him. You have to see, yeah, there you see multiple cars spinning. Brian Son was involved in that one as well. Here's a look back at the replay once again. All right, we'll go back to live action here. We apologize for some of those technical difficulties. Yeah, Brandon Lambert has retired from the race, so we know his night is done. Gonna have to see where the rest of these guys cycle out. Christian Chandler still up front by about half a second. They've already put 2 seconds on Cody Cosgrove. So those front 2 have really pulled away already. Cody Cosgrove has about 2 seconds back to Kevin Fanning. But he's got Matt Kingsbury breathing down his back. And Ray, you going to join us in the booth the rest of the way?
You know, Chad, the boys were just telling me it looks like we got 20 minutes of repairs on the car to replace both the left side suspension arms. So I think, yeah, that's a safe bet.
Well, hey, welcome up to the booth, because I was feeling pretty lonely up here. Man, this is your home track, too. I was just saying that on the broadcast. That sucks, man.
Yeah, well, we won here when we did the GTEs. I was hoping for some redemption and give the McLaren a shot. I figured it'd be pretty decent here. It is a great car here. It's deadly once you make a mistake. It's not forgiving. I mean, I don't really know how the car snapped left when I was turning right on the grass, but it did.
Well, I always talk about how there's a reason I'm up in the booth, and it's because I suck at driving. We now know why there's a reason you're in the booth here as well.
Accurate.
But hey, thanks for hopping up here in the booth with us, and let's watch some great racing right now. Up front, Challenger has pulled a decent gap over Janney. Then it's about 2.5 seconds back to Cosgrove. Your brother Matt, he made a mistake on his lap, went off in the grass on the outside of the big bend, and he's got some work to do. And you know a lot about this racetrack. What are some fun local anecdotes, or maybe something that a lot of people don't know about this track?
You don't get any cell service at this track.
I mean, at all. I'll trust you on that one. What's the point of a racetrack if you can't be on your phone, right?
Right. They do have decent Wi-Fi, though.
Yes.
No, trust me, trying to find your friends who don't have cell service and have never been to a racetrack before. A lot of fun. Yeah, interesting things that most of their parking is infield. So the top of the hill where the bridge is there, you go across that. You can also park outfield where the bridge of the Samposi Strait is and walk across. So spectators get full access to the paddock. You see between turns, really, I guess it's 3 and 4, maybe 2 and 3. There's a big hill. That's where a lot of the spectators sit, because you get to see so much of the track. And then there's loads of food and stuff behind there, so pretty cool. My team sponsor, drivesvr.com, Spark Virtual Racing, sponsors the track in real life. So when we're there, we hear all about them. They have a booth there as well.
Yeah, I know that they were hit hard by the pandemic, but it's great to see them getting back into things with the sim racing world. My favorite thing about this track is the historic layout that they were, supposed to build and we're talking about building, but it never quite happens. Here, when we go into turn number 1, it's goes up the hill through the mountains and comes back kind of towards where the chicane is now. But
oh, we got a spinner.
It's a beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, that's not live. Sorry, my bad.
As I say, it's a beautiful track and a beautiful location as well. But yeah, right now the only driver on pit road actually is you, unfortunately. So it looks like your race is done. Brandon Lambert has retired from the session as well. But otherwise, Jeffrey Wallace, he came down pit road. He did. So he must have had an issue in contact somewhere. But he is back out there churning laps, and he's just about on where his qualifying pace was. But up front, the guy is still ticking off the fastest laps of the race is Christian Challenger, Michael Janney. About a second between them, but they put another second and a half on Cody Cosgrove. These guys are really pulling away.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm actually personally glad to see Christian having a good week here. I think he needs this week to it's going to really spice up the championship hunt. This is a track where the Porsche maybe doesn't have as many advantages over the McLaren as other tracks. We've talked about the Porsche having great straight line speed because it doesn't have a ton of drag, and also it has that great launch off the corners. And we noticed that for slow speed corners. This is a very high speed, flowy corner track, lots of downforce, and I think that is helping the McLaren. My McLaren felt really good, and I was on the same chassis package as Christian. We aligned a little technically in that he just gave me his car because I had absolutely no time to prepare. Anyways, that was very kind of him. So yeah, Christian's got a really good feeling race car out there for sure. And it felt real good to me when I was driving it.
And something we talked about earlier on the broadcast, I know that you weren't here for it, but Savian Ragster, newcomer to the series this season, what do you think he adds to the picture? Because he was up there in qualifying, but unfortunately spun on his own early on.
I think a lot of people in the mid-pack are going to have fun watching their mirrors. I mean that in a nice way, not a bad way at all.
Yeah, the last lap, he was a second faster than Asphalt Dennis, who's currently one position in front of him. He was 3/4 of a second faster than Harley Moss, and he's absolutely just trying to tear his way through this field as he currently works his way down. There's a car off.
Steve Lane's in the wall.
That's a 66 of Steve Lane. Wow.
He did the same thing I did there, Chad.
Yep, that's the same place that you lost it.
Except he had help. He had help doing that. Yeah, lots and lots of help, actually.
I wonder if we can't take a look at that replay. We'll try it once again. This is him coming down the hill. On the outside, is that his forward teammate there with him?
That is indeed Kevin Fanning. They were side by side for the battle of P6 and 7, and it's ended in tears.
Yeah, the 54 there of Fanning looks like he just got plowing tight and shot out the racetrack into him, and that's unfortunate to see.
Yeah, Chad, interesting thing. I thought the Ferrari would be really good here because it's a pretty high-speed track, but I guess with how much downforce it requires, it's just not its cup of tea. So the guys even on the new Evo were saying it's a tough car here. You see they're doing okay, but what I did notice was it had absolutely amazing straightaway speed. It's not holding on in the corners.
Side by side down the front straightaway, Savian Ragster makes the move and absolutely sends it past Asphalt Dennis. He's got a bunch of racetrack now in front of him as he's got about 9 seconds up to Harley Moss. But last lap, Harley was about 0.2 of a second slower. So he's going to catch him here in a couple laps. And Savian just... We've seen him in these cars. He's absolutely going to fly through this field. It just depends on when he can catch up to all these gaps that are in front of him.
Yeah, for sure. I do think it speaks to the quality of cars that the Drive Dead Livewire guys are building. That Cody Cosgrove is up in P3. They have phenomenal pace. There's no way around it. I drove against Cody when he was in the Corvette, and I don't want to say it was easy driving against him. It certainly wasn't always easy, but he wasn't a guy that stood out against me as a challenger, and we were in the same car, so they've definitely figured some stuff out here.
Now, what is the biggest secret of this track? There's only one left-hand corner. Are you kind of setting yourself up to turn right, or I mean, is there any setups or?
Yes, definitely. I did notice that big time when we drove GTE here. We set the cars up to turn right, mainly because they had so much downforce you can almost flat foot, at least in the Corvette, the long right-hander at the end. But I don't know what they're doing this time around. I could tell you my car currently has a lot of cross weight.
By the way, that's the 52 there of Cody Erdman that just went around. You saw him. He's got some damage to the left rear of his car, and he spun it at the same place that you did on the exit of the final corner.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, Chad, I could tell you my car currently has a lot of cross weight, and that's from the wall. They're currently pulling it out, and I'm watching the scales. It's going down a little bit.
Steve Lane currently working his way out of pit road. He sits 2 laps down. He's got some contact to the right rear of his car. So after all that, he did work his way down, take some repairs, and he's back out on track. And you see that right rear of that wing is bent up just enough. It's going to make a difference, and hopefully the steering is okay there on that Livewire Sim Sports machine.
Yeah, it's definitely worth getting back out on track for Steve, who's in the championship hunt and AM a little bit. He's still got a top 10 within reach here, so definitely worth getting back out on track. Honestly, if I had a chance at a top 7 or 8, I'd probably get back out there myself. I don't foresee 5 more guys wrecking out of this race, though, with how many laps I'm down.
Yeah, and we last time that we were out here, it was in the GTEs, like you mentioned. But I mean, even at the end of that race, towards the end of it, we're in a much longer scenario here, another 15 extra minutes. But lap traffic was an issue back then. Do we expect it to be an issue again here today?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, Chad. I don't see how it could not be.
And we just saw that Steve Lane going off track. And kind of the smart thing to do is just staying off track, because once he lost it, there's no walls over there to danger you, but you also had the 2 leaders breathing right down your neck. So Steve Lane going to lose another lap there to both Challenger and Janney as they just fly by.
Chad, I'm debating seeing how this car feels, but I do have about 5 minutes of damage left, I think, before it's really driving totally straight. Maybe I'll test and see if this crossweight does anything.
I was going to say it's probably not worth it as you sit there on pit road with a ton of damage to your race car. And we're about almost a third of the way done. You're in last place. You make up 1 spot by passing Mr. Brandon Lambert. Then you got a lot of work to do to get past Mr. Jeffrey Wallace and Justin Robichaux.
Well, the good news is my mandatory pit stop's done.
We do have some other retirements, by the way. It looks like Robichaux, Lambert, Wallace, and Erdman have all retired their cars. Still out there currently 2 laps down is Brian Son. He went off track not too long ago, but his car looks to be in decent shape. There you see him working his way out of the final corner. That car looks to be pretty clean for the most part. He's just 2 laps down. Or sorry, 3 laps down now as he just lost another lap. But Challenger's out in front, then Janney, then Cosgrove, and the gap from Challenger to Janney is growing. One of the biggest developments we've seen as this season's gone on is pit entry between these two. Janney is much more aggressive with it, and it's paid off every single race. Starting to see some pit stops here. Was that? That was Ray Kingsbury actually working his way out of pit road. Okay, I knew it was one of the Kingsburys because of those spark colors, but I always forget which team the people are on these days. Ray, though, working
driving real good
out of pit road. And he says he's driving real good. We'll have to see how that plays out for him because his left rear is still all sorts of bent up.
Yeah, the car is not pointed straight in the straightaways.
I think that's iRacing trying to give you a sign there, but yeah,
yes.
You're going to lose it here. Yep, there it is.
We're safe.
You're safe, but I think that you should park it.
I think we're gonna come and get the other 9 minutes of repairs done. Oh, that tire barrier is floating off the ground. Good job, iRacing. Gonna get a John Deere tractor sponsorship here and just mow the lawn and come back to pit lane.
Let's look. I believe that's Brian Son of the Penguin RC 03 machine, and he just crashed on his own. Or sorry, Steve Lane just crashed, so he is now in pit road as well. So yeah, and he was already in once for some repairs. So his night might be done. We'll have to see how that impacts him. This is a look up front at your leader. You see that gap growing back to Michael Janney. Almost out of slipstream range at this point. Actually, it's just under 2 seconds, so he should be out of slipstream range as these guys now work their way towards the chicane. Christian has a ton of clean racetrack out in front of him as well. So he's just going to try to set some clean laps and work his way up. Lap times have fallen off for him, though. Last time by, he lost about a tenth to Michael Janney. But they started this race. The fastest lap was lap number 2. And that was a 49.8. These guys now turning 50.3s.
Indeed. Chad, I did figure out what was wrong with the car. Turns out the front and the rear were damaged. So my front ride height was really low. They put that back up, though the rear is at 4 inches, when normally it's at about 2.6. So quite a lot of rake was added to that car.
This is a battle on track that we're looking at here. That is, I believe, Schofield and Belton. Is that correct? Yes. Yep, that's Schofield, Belton, and Ragster all in a line here. And Ragster, he qualified fourth, trying to work his way up through the field. And I have to see when he can get his move done. He did spin off on his own, but there's so much runoff there at Big Bend that he did not damage his car in any way from what we saw. So he's doing everything he can to get back up towards the front of this field. Savian now working his way through the downhill. And is he going to make a move going into turn number 1? We've seen him try to do it several times now. He sits in the slipstream of Jack Belton right in front of him. But he, I think, is going to be too far back to get the move done. Yeah, he just sits in line going turn number 1. Very late on the brakes to see how much he closed up there. And he's going to try to dive it in here. Now going up towards the left-hander. Only left-handed corner on this track. He still just sits in line. I think that his preferred move is just waiting and waiting until you get to Big Bend, the first turn across the start-finish line.
Technically, you're wrong. It is not the only left-handed corner on this track.
You got
There's also a chicane.
Come on.
It's a left-handed corner, my friend.
All right, whatever.
What do you think? Do you prefer this layout, or do you prefer the uphill? From
I prefer this layout. This is my favorite layout of the track, the Grand Prix layout.
Yeah, I do too. I think that the uphill is awesome for like classic cars, but in terms of providing more passing opportunities in racing, this layout is for sure the better one.
Here comes Savian Ragster. Peeks his nose to the inside. He's absolutely there, and Jack Belton going to leave him the room. Can he clear him on corner exit? He can. He slides all the way. He just pulls that slide job so smoothly all the way to the left side of the track, and he's now got his sights set on David Schofield. So these three cars all here battling for position. And that is now Schofield, Ragster, Belton.
Oh, the P9 driver spun off. Unless that was... No, that's not... That was Savian just gained the position. My apologies.
That was, yeah.
I saw some damage on the back of Harley Moss's car. His wing is interesting. I figured that might be related, but it is maybe related. Harley lost it out of the kink just before the chicane and slapped the tire barrier, actually.
Yeah, Harley's out there in that beautiful looking car, just turning laps. He's currently in the top 10, and he's got a bunch of time back behind. He's turning some really fast laps. Last lap wasn't so good, of course, as you mentioned, that spin, but he is up there in terms of top lap times of the race, in terms of best lap. Right now, Christian Chandler leads that category with a 49.867. Just absolute flyers. And we won't see lap times like that the rest of this race.
His rear wing looks destroyed, but I don't really know how much impact that's going to have on his pace. It could be more of a visual thing. Maybe it's not actually that damaged, because I don't think he hit anything but that rear wing. He kind of slid it out, and what was hanging off the back of the car hit the wall. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, if anything, he's getting faster.
Yeah, I think that he's just kind of adjusting to the different amount of downforce. Shout out to Trevor Teal over there in the chat. Ray, he gave you some broadcasting tips. He said you should never say kink and slap in the same sentence.
I'm not sure I could say my mind was in the same gutter that Trevor's was in, but I can say my car was in the gutter.
Boy, your car's now in the pit road, and that's where we've seen Joseph Newgarden crash in the real world. He crashed down pit road, almost took out some mechanics back in 2007. We were talking about that pre-race with some of the drivers, and always fun to be able to tie tracks to memorable moments in the real world. But hey, these guys absolutely just trudging on. Right now, it's still Challenger. He's built his lead, though. It's up to 3 seconds now over Michael Janney. That's this is a performance we haven't seen out of Mr. Challenger yet this season.
Well, I mean, he did win one race, Chad. Anyways, who was your pick of the race, by the way?
It's always Christian Challenger.
Oh, I mean, I was going to say, is it too late to pick him? I know the race started, but can I still pick him?
I mean, you can take him, but I already took him, so.
Gotcha.
But no, Christian's my guy. He's always my pick week in and week out. I don't know. I've known the dude for 4 years now, so even off of iRacing, that's where I met him actually. So great guy. Tons of fun to watch on his stream. He hasn't streamed in a minute, but tons of fun, and he always gives out some great driving tips. So.
Well, Chad, yet again we're back here at Lime Rock Park, and I think it's a great venue for a race. I mean, we've seen some good racing here. A little bit of attrition, but to be expected. We were saying when we did the GTEs here, we couldn't come back if we had a large car count. I don't really think that's the case. I think people just have to give a little more room. There's nothing wrong with this track, width-wise. It's just there's a lot of lap traffic if you catch up to the back of the field. So, just like any track, you got to be considerate to others around you.
Something to note, by the way, Trevor Teal says he's 2 miles from the big dog. It's time to pay him back for Barcelona last. I want to see it. I want to see some revenge in the real world. Trevor, you take him out.
Speaking of Connecticut, Chad, did you know that Nitro Circus is actually up here for their tour tomorrow in Hartford, not too far from here?
That is, it's always a great show. Saw them back when they were in Dayton. About a month ago, I think it was. I remember it was a fantastic show, though, and they always put a fantastic a show on. So definitely
I do have the opportunity to go tomorrow, but I just don't know if I can pull it off.
I think that you should. I mean, you don't. It's not like you have a wedding to plan or a soccer team to follow or anything like that. So
yeah, neither of those things are happening this weekend or last night.
How did they do against Cincinnati, by the way?
I believe they beat them, didn't they?
I don't know. I considered going to the match because somebody was giving free tickets on Reddit, but
yeah, I think they smacked them around.
I should have gone just for you.
I think Cincy got 2 red cards in the last 2 minutes of the game.
I mean, that's the FC Cincinnati thing to do.
But then last night, NYCFC got 2 red cards in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Oof.
Against Red Bull.
By the way, Harley Moss has tracked down Jack Belton. That's what we were looking at just a minute ago on screen. We do actually have some racing to talk about here, guys. So let's maybe try to focus a little more on that. Harley Moss further on back in the field, currently running in 10th. He wants that 9th spot, and he's doing everything, using every last bit of racetrack. There you see Jack Belton up in front, clipping the grass on the outside of the downhill, and he clips the grass once again. Does not pull a Ray Kingsbury and spin out there, though. He keeps it pointed the right direction. And Ray Kingsbury leaving the pits once again. Ragster, though, he's lost it for the 2nd time.
We're gonna go show these guys what a fast race car looks like.
Well, it definitely doesn't look like yours. I'll tell you that much. You've put in the wall plenty and spun out a couple times. You
That
have
hurts, Chad. That
improved
hurts.
from 19th up to 18th though, so you've done something right.
Power moves, man.
Tim Brokaw's worked his way down the pit lane. This might be a scheduled pit stop. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see him get into contact with anything.
There's a distinct lack of front down. Oh my gosh, I caught air.
That car looks very clean for Tim Brokaw. This might be a scheduled stop. He might just try to split the difference and go from one to the end. But yeah, he is now one lap down. And he's got some work to do to get his way back up through the field, waiting for everybody else to stop in front of him. It was a very long stop, actually, for Brokaw, 14.3, and I say very long. That's relative to what we might see from some of these guys that just technically need a splash. Shut up, Trevor. I know I didn't go, but I have to talk about it. Ray gets the Meatball Award. He's out there doing everything he can to have fun with it. And we see him there go off track just out of the chicane as well, not through the downhill. This is where he lost. He's getting PTSD and he gets a tire off the track. Ray keeps it going. Good job, Ray.
Driving real good, Chad.
How's the car feel?
Great. little lack of front downforce, but not bad.
I wish I had admin rights. I would just qualify you from the session, but I don't.
My goal is to set a personal best.
Battle for third right now is starting to heat up, and that's Cody Cosgrove and Michael Haller. Mike wants that spot. Cody's held it since the green flag dropped. But Michael, he's worked his way from 7th up to 4th, and he wants 3rd. That car up in front of them is Asphalt Dennis. He is the first car one lap down. In the lucky dog position, so to speak. He went wide there at the chicane. This is going to check up Cody Cosgrove quite a bit. He's going to pull off to the right, and it's going to open the door for Michael. He peeks to the inside, but not going to get anything done there.
Oh, there's carnage.
Back in line. Carnage surrounding.
Oh, just bumps. They're good. They're good. They're driving real good.
Going in the right direction, but that's a Harley Moss and Jack Belton. They're nose to tail as well. And Jack misses the chicane. He's going to go wide, take his slowdown and rejoin, but that's an unfortunate time to lose it, feeling the pressure back from behind. And now it's going to be Jack Belton, Harley Moss feeling the pressure from Ray, were you teammates with Harley at one point?
He guest drove in the IndyCar with us, but he's definitely feeling the pressure. Look at him. He's about to crack like a hard-boiled egg.
You don't... Okay, I mean... Yeah, I don't think of cracking a hard-boiled egg. I just think of cracking an egg. But anyway... That car back behind Harley Moss, that is Ray Kingsbury, 27 laps down. Yes, I said 27. And he's just going to let him go by. Ray, you should have stuck your hand out the window, maybe give him a little one-finger salute. But by the way,
that was pretty indignant. He should have let me go.
By the way, just behind you guys is Christian Challoner, the overall leader of this race. Oof.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that. I actually ran a lap that was faster than Christian's a few laps ago.
Fastest last lap, though, was Michael Haller with a 50.5. Your leader, Christian Challoner, he was at a 50.759. He wants to get by this lap traffic as soon as he possibly can. That's Jack Belton right in front of him. Here we go on board with Christian Challoner, and very loose there. Clips the curbing, clips the grass, and loses a little bit of time, but he's pointed in the right direction. Here he goes through the chicane, and he wants to try to find any way past that he possibly can. So right now it's still Challoner, then Janney, but he's about 3 seconds back. This is some lap traffic that they're working on, and the battle for second is still pretty fierce. The battle for third is still pretty fierce between Cosgrove and Haller. They were doing everything that they can. Look at this battle on track. He's lost a little bit of time through the chicane there. I think Holler went a little bit too deep and had to back out of it just enough to cost him a decent chunk of time. But up front, Christian trying to find any way past it he can. This is the worst part about catching lap
Brian
traffic.
Sohn's around in the chicane. Oh my gosh.
The worst part about catching lap traffic is, when guys are still battling for position. As now Challenger, he's dispensed of Jack Belton. He's going to get by Brian Sohn now. But now he's still got Harley Moss right in front of him. So everybody able to make it through that cleanly. As still Brian Sohn. We saw him just a moment ago. Here we go. There's Harley Moss doing the right thing, letting your leader Christian Challenger go. What's going to happen, though, when Michael Janney gets to him? Because these guys are still battling for position. That red and the green cars there you see on your screen, they're battling for the position, but they are the first cars one lap down. And that's your second place car just behind them. So going to have to see what happens. Christian lost about 3/4 of a second that last lap to Michael Janney. But we've seen it just about every single race so far where these front two really just like to try to wait until their car is just about out of fuel and then they come in for the splash. Hopefully that's what we're going to see once again. And Challenger, he's practiced pit road here way too many times. Hopefully it pays off compared to Michael Janney, who is always very aggressive. And there's that Harley Moss goes around. Harley Moss just got around Jack Belton for the 9th spot, but unfortunately he goes around. He's going to lose that spot right back. Tim Brokaw, the next car back behind him, he is just now going through the downhill corner, so he is not going to lose the 10th spot. Jack Belton, though, right now holding on for dear life. Harley Moss right now holding on to the 10th spot for dear life. We got about half a lap on it, but hopefully the tires are not too overheated. And there you see some smoke, and that's Brian Sohn once again in the chicane.
We're pulling her off, boys.
Ray is just gonna. It sounds like he's just gonna park it. He's made up one spot as he pulls now into pit road. But Brian Sohn, I think he's trying to find a place that he can just get his car back out there on track. You see him there pulling up against the curbing. But he's got nowhere to go. At some point, I think you might, if you're Brian, you just need to take the tow. We'll see what happens here. He's got plenty of racetrack now. One car there. There's your leader once again. And there's your second place car. A couple of cars lapped down, and there you go. He's going to take to the access road here. This is the downhill chicane is what it's known as we see some cars working their way now down pit road. That's Kevin Fanning there. He's towards the back end of the lead lap, but he was still on the lead lap when he turned down pit road. He's currently in the 7th spot. And Ray, you turned some pretty quick laps out there, but you decided to park it.
Yeah, I may have gotten into another wall. Not too much damage to the car. Maybe I'll tow it one more time or something and see what happens.
Nah, it's not worth it. I just
okay.
Here in the booth.
Chad says not worth it. I'm gonna park it then.
Christian Challenger just clipped the dirt on the outside of the right-hander, and car wiggled just enough on him. He's going to lose some time here, but he's still got 2 seconds. Here's another car working its way down pit road. That's Matt Kingsbury, and now pulling into his pit stall. He's going to get some service, probably just some fuel, splash and go with 25 minutes remaining. As right now, these guys, I think that this is absolutely the shortest track, especially for GT cars here on the service. Ray, does track length play anything in at all, or is it all just more so about kind of the track layout and what feel you have for it?
No, the track layout matters, but the length does have a difference. It affects pit strategy because you don't want to come out in the middle of traffic if you do a short pit. And that's very well a possibility here with how short the laps are. So it's something you got to play into your mind. Yeah, and like with how short the laps are, people kind of tend to try to race a little harder at these type of bull ring tracks. Try to get every position you can at these smaller tracks, early on, because they feel like there's not as much time to get the get the positions you need. I mean, that's just entirely not true when the tracks are the same length, or the races are all the same length. They're time-based.
Now, we got to, I got to give you a little bit of a plug here. You won this race last time this series was here. And as you were the leader last time, I mean, what's it like having to deal with lap traffic, especially when everybody's so close there that is not on the lead lap?
I was really good on brakes, and that helped me a lot, but you just have to have a lot of patience and trust that the guys are going to give you the brakings on it. If they don't, you just got to wait for the next one. I had to deal with lap traffic, but I also had to deal with cars on the same lap as me battling for position, because we did the sprint race and then you inverted for the feature, and I started, I think, P8 or P something, pretty deep down into the order for the feature.
And there you see another car diving its way down pit road. That's the 27 of David Schofield now onto pit road. This is Kingsbury. They're trying to get around Jack Belton. Jack has yet to stop. Meanwhile, Kingsbury just made his pit stop. So he's going to have more fuel in that car. Going to have to see what Kingsbury can do with it. As Kingsbury now through the left-hander. Right behind that, is it Norwich City, I believe, that is what Jack told us, the green and the yellow.
He's going to say you're pronouncing that wrong. It's Norwich.
That's what I said, right? Norwich?
Oh, you pronounced it with a W.
Oh, with a W. Oh, side by side there.
Silent.
There goes Kingsbury. Yes, the Norwich City.
Norwich.
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 Norwich, just in time for Halloween. Looks like
be pissed.
The move for the third position. By the way, we talked about this battle just a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, we had to miss the move. I don't know if we can get a replay of it, but Cody Cosgrove has been passed by Michael Haller. He's got that position now, that Chicago car of the 64. He says, Nintendo, don't mess with me. And Matt Kingsbury, we saw him just make a move to get by Belton. He just went off.
Small off. He recovered nicely.
Okay, something happened to the car, but he did go off track, but he did not lose any position from it, I don't believe.
Just the one to Belton. He dropped 2 tires out on the outside of the Big Bend turn 1 there, but he kept 2 on, so it wasn't too bad for him.
Yeah, he did.
He let off 2.
Yeah, it looks like he did lose a spot to Belton actually, but Belton has yet to make his pit stop. He's going to inherit that spot right back. And by the way, the gap that we saw for the lead, that was about 3 seconds not long ago, it's now down to 1.3, 1.4 seconds. So it's definitely closing up just a little bit. There you see a look at the gap. And they've got about a third of a lap already on a third place Michael Haller. I've seen drivers in iRacing lap the field several times, but what's going to happen here with no cautions or anything to bunch the field back up? It's still Challenger, Janney, Haller, Cosgrove, Ragster. And Ragster with a fantastic drive here in his season debut. He's worked his way he started 4th, spun all the way back to about 17th, and is now currently running P5. 14 seconds back behind Cody Cosgrove. And he is running about 7/10 of a second a lap quicker than Cody Cosgrove. So he's probably going to get there at some point. I just don't know when. There's a look, the battle for the 8th position. That's Harley Moss and Kevin Fanning. Harley, we talked about him. He is yet to make his stop. Meanwhile, Kevin Fanning has, so he'll get that spot right back. No need to push too hard. But Harley, he just got by Jack Belton, and then we talked about his spin, so he's got some work to improve to get back to where he was before. And both of those guys are separated by Matt Kingsbury. Kingsbury has already pit as well. So your top 6 have already pit, and Matt Kingsbury now goes around in Big Bend. Can he get off the track in time? He does. That was very close, just barely got out of the way of these guys. There you see them all flying past him, as he's going to lose, I believe, 2, if not 3 spots to those guys. And right behind him is going to be one of those live wire sim sports cars. As that is Cody Cosgrove back behind. He is currently in the 4th position. He's a lap ahead of all of these guys. Going to have to deal with some lap traffic now.
Yeah, I mean, Matt does have his pit stop then, and I think a few of these guys still got to stop, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But, I mean, I don't think Holler's pitted, has he?
Holler has not pitted. None of the top 5. The 5 cars left on the lead lap have yet to pit. Ragster currently, he's lost a little bit of time now to Cody Cosgrove, so he's barely hanging on to the lead lap, about 8 seconds in front of your leader. Here you see Harley Moss working his way down pit road. So he's going to come in and take his fuel. Car does not go up on Jack, so he's not going to take any tires. But there you see the gap from first back to second. They are separated by 1 lapped car as he's going to pull his way off to the side to let the second place of Michael Janney get on by. But diving it back into turn 1 is Christian Challoner. Such a long corner. And it's definitely a fun corner to handle, especially because you build up so much momentum going through the downhill, through the final corner. You basically take that final corner just about flat, can't you, Ray?
Yeah, you really can, Chad. It's just a quick lift, and then you're gone. I mean, you don't really need to do much.
Yeah, and it's such a sweeping but yet tight right-hander at the same time, almost like a double apex. When you carry that much speed into it, what's the biggest thing of importance with that corner?
You got to set the nose, because if you don't, you could push wide. It'll either snap loose or you can spin it out.
Yeah, definitely a fun corner to work your way through. There you see Christian taking it without any major issues there. And right behind him, Michael Janney, as he's been the entire race. So still the 1 and the 113. But we've got a battle for second heating up once again. It looks like Michael Holler has worked his way down pit road, or something must have happened to him. I'm not showing that he stopped, but I'm showing that he has lost it. Maybe my timing and scoring is just messed up a lot. Yeah, my timing is just broken. Never mind. Ignore me. Because I'm showing him for some reason 1 lap down. No, he is still on the lead lap, still holding the 4th position. Cody Cosgrove, though, he pit from the 4th spot, so that must have been what was throwing me off. He did pit from 4th. So right now it's still Challoner, Janney, Holler, your top 3. As Cody Cosgrove worked his way down pit road just about a lap ago. But these front couple of guys still working their way around. And there you see Savian Ragster, newcomer to the series this season. He works his way through the chicane. There's a car around. That's the 8. Again, of Asphalt Dennis. He is currently sitting 12 laps down.
I think he's had some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, multiple drivers have, yourself included here tonight. I definitely considered racing. This is my favorite track. Not my favorite cars here.
Probably the only one you can remember. It's short enough, right, Chad?
I can remember, like, Indianapolis. That's
Left,
a longer track.
Left.
Oh, I was talking about the road course, but you do you. I remember a lot of road courses. I remember their layout. It's the braking points I don't remember.
Usually a bad thing if you're driving a car really fast.
Hey, I'm working my way through learning Le Mans, so I'll be with you guys for the 24 this year, or next year.
That was the longest rally stage in history, I've been told, watching you try to drive a lap at Le Mans.
Hey, it's what happens when you have to grind your license up because nobody tells you what the requirements are. But anyway, that's a look at the battle for the lead. It's about 2 seconds right now, or 1.5 seconds between Janney and Challoner. Challoner's gonna tuck back in line behind the lap car of Brian Son. Son has had a couple of incidents through the chicane, so hopefully he can keep things going the right way this time, just because he's got that second place car right behind him. And, you know, Ray, we've talked about your personal experience both at this track in the real world as well as here in iRacing, but what is the most difficult corner here in this Grand Prix layout?
Oh, gosh. There's no easy corner. For me personally, it's It's the two right-handers at the top of the hill. I can't get the curbs right, and then coming out of the downhill, that's just the exit of that corner is deadly if you get it wrong.
That's a look at Matt Kingsbury that just spun. Your 2 leaders, though, they do work their way down pit road. Who's going to come out first? Looks like it was just follow the leader between the 2 of them as they both come into their pit stalls. And did Janny overshoot? He's very close to it. No, he is just that much more aggressive on pit entry. Made up a ton of ground. There you see the flames shooting out of the back of Christian Challoner's car. He gets away first, but that gap really closed up there between Challoner and Janey. Look how close they are now.
Oh, Harley is off. Right in front of Savian and Belton and Holler.
Yeah, can he recover? He gets back out on track, but he's going to lose a couple of positions out on track. Let's go back to that battlefield. Let's see how this shook out. As right now it looks like inheriting the lead is Michael Holler. Yeah, so Holler still has yet to pit as we have 13 minutes left in this race. When does he come in? These guys back behind him, though, Challoner and Janny, they're separated by about a second and a half or so. The gap, I talked about it, that pit entry is so critical. And every single track we've been to, Janny's been able to make up that ground.
Yeah, Janny is phenomenal on the pit entries, but not enough yet. I mean, this is a hard track to pass at. I mean, you know, he could get a nice slipstream and outbreak. Challoner down in the turn 1, that's a passing opportunity. Down into the chicane is a passing opportunity. But he is going to have to be brave to do it, and he's going to have to catch up to him for sure.
That was a look at, that was Kevin Fanning that just went off. That's who you just saw. They're spinning at, I believe that was turn 1. But then these guys, that's on board. That was on board with, was that Harley Moss? Yes, that was Harley Moss.
Did you see Michael clip the grass when he went by him? That was a sketchy moment.
Yeah, Michael Janey did clip the grass. Michael Holler, though, works his way down pit road. He's going to pit from the lead, and that's going to give it back to Christian Challoner. So, Holler pits from the lead. He's going to take some fuel, and he's going to be back underway here momentarily. But Christian Challoner now, has he burned up his stuff? Does he have enough tire left to go the rest of the way safely? We're going to have to wait and see. The gap is now down to about half a second between Challoner and Janny, and things are just starting to heat up.
Yeah, it's tough to tell what will happen with tire fall off. Of course, it looks like the Porsche is doing quite well. I also noticed every single exit of every corner, the Porsche is able to drop wheels, and the McLaren really can't. Just maybe it's just the way the cars are set up, but I think that a tenth of a pace difference, even if Janny's got the advantage, it's going to be hard for him to make a move on Challoner if he's not able to set up a run onto the Samposi straight. That's really the best passing opportunity. The thing is, we've seen the Porsches get good runs off of corners in general, but that's a high-speed corner. Do they get as good of a run off? I don't know.
That battle just now starting to heat up for the lead. A couple of other guys, though, with some interesting battles. Cody Cosgrove, he's got about 4 or 5 seconds between himself and Michael Holler. We're going to have to see if he can't make up some ground.
Oh, Janny's off. Oh, Janny's around.
Janny. Oh, that's around. This could be huge depending on how much damage he has to that race car. He definitely hit the left side wall a couple of times with that car. So let's see if we can't get a replay of this one, because this was a huge incident, both in terms of the championship implications as well. There you see, started the spin, so he's going to go through this right-hander.
He's cheating that grass, Chad.
Down the hill, yeah. So that was the exit of the corner.
Sewer grate.
Yeah, caught that and just bumps the front end, bumps the back end, goes around into the grass. And that might just about be race over in terms of for the victory, but he had enough of a buffer. I don't think he's going to lose that much in terms of championship implications.
Yeah, I think even if he's, unless he's got a meatball flag, I think he can at least hang on to a podium here. Even if he's down on pace, there's only about 6 or 7 minutes left. I think he could probably hold on.
He's got 10 minutes left, by the way, if you check your actual monitor that our beautiful producer gives us.
You're right, it's 10 minutes. I don't know if Holler's got the time in it, though, to get up there. That's nearly a 20-second gap from everything I was seeing.
Yeah, the gap.
Well, just we were saying, though, the battle was heating up, and, you know, a couple tires off the grass threw it away, so.
Yeah, it's now currently Challoner 10 seconds or so back to Janney. And then he's got 20 seconds back to Holler. Holler has about 8 seconds back to Cosgrove. So those guys have all kind of settled themselves out. Another couple of close battles were like guys like Moss and Brokaw. And actually, Brokaw, I think he just inherited the 9th spot from Belton. Harley Moss, unfortunately, he looks like he's lost another lap at some point during this race.
Yeah, he had the pit. That was where he lost his lap.
Yeah, so he's lost a second lap, but Jack Belton right now, he is doing everything.
Michael's going faster than he was before. So whatever damage Michael Janney has, it's made him no slower. He is going 0.6 a lap faster than Christian Challoner still.
Yeah, last lap was a 50.7 for Christian Challoner, 50.16 for Michael Janney.
He probably needs a second a lap to do it, unless Challoner's got some more fall off. I don't think there's enough. It will be impressive if he can regain that time. I don't think he's going to. I also am amazed by how much damage the Porsche can take there. I mean, he hit the wall 3 or 4 times, right, Chad? I mean, I wasn't crazy there.
And there you see him going wide at the final corner once again, dips his left sides into the grass. And for some cars, that's unsettling, but for him, he treats it like it's no big deal. Yeah,
I don't know if I'm Janney's strategist. I'm saying you hit clean laps, you can make it up. But we'll see. He's maybe just got enough time to do it, but he's got to gain about a second a lap.
Yeah, he just made up 0.3 of a second last lap, 50.286, 0.605 for Challoner. So he's definitely gaining, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. I think Challoner might just, have taken a breath and said, okay, I've got this, just keep it clean here to the end. He knows he has so much time here back.
Yeah, and he just threw down a flyer himself.
Yeah, went to a 50.233. Meanwhile, Janney's last lap was 50.431. So all that time he just gained, he gave it right back.
Yeah, I mean, it could be some lack of downforce causing some tire issues. Who knows? There's a decent amount of damage in that car. I'm really surprised by the pace it had. It makes me wonder if I should try the Porsche out next week.
We do have a battle, by the way, heating up for the 6th position. That's between Matt Kingsbury and Kevin Fanning. We're looking at it there on your screen, the Matco Tools car of the 54, Kevin Fanning. He's trying everything he can. He's catching up, but I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. Both of these guys pitted about a lap apart, but Matt Kingsbury right now working his way through the right-hander, through the downhill, and there you see him through the final corner. He starts to pull away just a little bit, but so much draft in these cars. Kevin Fanning showing everything he's got. Now through Big Bend, Fanning trying everything he can to try to catch back up and possibly make a move. These are the first 2 cars off the lead lap. They've got some clean racetrack in front of them. Gonna have to wait and see what happens between them as well. So it's still Challoner, Janney, Holler, then Cosgrove and Ragster worked his way back up to the 5th spot, but Kingsbury Fanning the battle we're looking at now. And there you see Harley Moss once again. He's slow through the chicane. Might have had some issues once again. Yeah, so he's going to lose some more time back to guys in front. I think that at this point he just has lost, maybe lost focus. Not sure what's going on there. That's a look at Brian Son. Maybe something's happened to that car as well. We've seen him off a couple times during this race as well.
I'm really interested in this battle between Fanning and Kingsbury. I think that's going to be the one to watch. I think the one for the lead is over at this point. There's no battle there. Challoner threw a sub 50 and he threw a 49.9, I think, in 2 laps in a row. So I think it's over for Janney, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on that battle for the lead and see if that interval closes at all. It's about 10 seconds right now, approximately 6 laps to go So that's all that matters up front. But this battle for the 6th spot, this does have some pretty big implications between these two drivers. They are fighting. Looks like right now Fanning actually is up there in the AM Championship, so gonna have to see where he plays out in this. Trying to get every position that he can, as most of the drivers up in front of him are for the pro position. So Holler and Cosgrove 3 and 4 right now overall. They are in the AM class, but then Fanning, he wants to try to get back up there. I know that one of our championship leaders there in the AM class, Cody Irvine, he is out of this race as well. So he dropped out in the 16th spot. Steve Lane, we've seen him competitive in the AM class. He is currently down in 14th as well, 17 laps down.
Before Cody Cosgrove, though.
Yep, Cody Cosgrove. And he is one of the guys up there as well. He is currently in 4th spot on track. And he's got a big gap both out the front and out the back. But Savian and Rags are turning some pretty quick laps as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough time for Savian to get Cody, but a great drive by both of those drivers. I mean, they got 3 cars in the top 5. That's pretty immense.
And, I mean, I just got to go back and think. I mean, that pit entry from Michael Janney was so crucial to him. He made up so much time with that. And then, unfortunately, he threw it all away. But, man, what a show this might have been if he didn't make that little mistake.
Well, I said it's all over for Savian. But you know what? One mistake from Cosgrove, and he's right back in it.
Yeah, that's one thing about this track. Between what the curbs do and what the elevation changes do at this track, I mean, you could definitely make the slightest mistake and upset the car. We saw one of the drivers in this field, Ray Kingsbury, do that a couple of times, as right now it's Challenger still leading the way.
Yeah, he's an absolute amateur. That guy, I don't know. What a noob. I do think this battle between Matt and Kevin's going to spice up a little bit, especially with Asphalt Dennis right in front of them, a little slow off the pace. Could provide a little bit of a stopgate there to pack them up.
Yeah, Dennis, I don't see too much damage, maybe a slight amount to the left rear. But for the most part, I mean, his wings look intact. His downforce is still seems to be correct. So I think he's just kind of holding on, logging laps at this point. But yeah, that's gonna
he
impact.
he may have just been getting a little bit of repair work done in his pit stop too. You never know.
Yeah, and there you see him all the way to the right side of the track, going to leave things wide open here for Kingsbury and Fanning. Kingsbury now dives into turn number 1, very wide through mid-corner, but he's going to take it back to the curb. And now through exit of turn number 2 into the left-hander. And he had a little bit of a wiggle there, but he saves it. Fanning, though, he's right there to pounce if something happens to Kingsbury.
Something almost did. Nice save, though.
Yeah, very close here under braking. Kingsbury clips that red curb on the inside. And talk about those curves a little bit, those turtle shells you might call them. What do those do to the car?
A couple of them are fine. Like the flatter ones are fine, but the ones with the raised edge, like the last corner has it in part of it, and the 2 turns at the top of the hill have it as well. You hit them, they're like it's like a 45-degree angle up for about 2 inches, and then it's like a flat top or rounded top. So they have like a little bit of a raised, more steep edge to them. So you can't just run them over, no problem. The ones that are on like the corners that are kind of banked, that are at the bottom, those ones you can pretty much run over. They're pretty flat, and on the exits of the corners too. Those are meant to be used.
Yeah, that gap there now between Kingsbury and Fanning, it was a 0.2 of a second improvement there for Fanning last time, and he is right there. By the way, the white flag is out. Christian Challenger is leading this race. These guys all going to have one final lap to go. Janney, he has lost a little bit more time, so he is not going to improve. But this battle for the 6th position is about the closest we've got on track right now. Fanning, he wants to try to make a move, but you can't do it there into turn 1. It's not it's the best passing opportunity on the track, but he can't get it done there. Ray, what opportunity does he have left to get it done?
Got a chance down in the chicane up here if he can get a run, and then any of the last 2 corners, if he can get to the inside, he can force him off the line, but he's got to be there to actually do it.
And for the final time now, across the line comes Christian Chandler, getting, I believe, his 3rd win of the season, as he just barely does not lap Savian Ragster. Savian had a fantastic drive. And then Michael Janney, he's just now coming out of the final quarter, so he's going to take the 2nd spot. Absolutely running away with it, but Fanning and Kingsbury, looks like it's going to be Kingsbury taking that 6th position. So, wow, what a fantastic drive all throughout this field.
Can't discount Michael Haller. Debut, I believe it's a debut drive from him, and he's got a P3 to boot.
Yeah, fantastic bit of racing there from Michael Haller.
Top 10s for Fanning, Schofield, and Belton, as well as Brokaw with a decent recovery.
Yeah, I mean, either way,
I got a top 15. I'm pretty happy with that,
Yeah, you picked up just enough laps to get yourself get yourself enough spots. You finished 57 laps down, and most races here this season, we're not going to see 57 laps.
No, we're not. It's a short track. It's a fun track. Really love this track. I wish I didn't do what I did. I got Barber up next time, and that's probably one of my favorite tracks. I think I'm gonna try again, see what I can do. What do you reckon, Chad? Should I try the Porsche out, or should I go with the McLaren?
I think you have to stick with the McLaren. I mean, it's such a fun car to drive. It looks so beautiful. And
Majestically deadly.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's just a ton of fun. It looks like Challenger. Did he run himself out of fuel?
It looks like it. Yeah. Fuel pressure gauge is on.
Yeah, he's sputtering down, so he barely got enough fuel in there.
Every 10th of a second counts, buddy.
What a fantastic race, though. I mean, incredible. Let's take a look here at your results for today's event, with Christian Challenger getting the top position. And he started out front and he held the lead the entire way. He was followed pretty closely by Michael Janney most of the race. He had his self-spin and unfortunately was not able to recover to fight for that lead. But Christian Challenger, then Michael Janney, Michael Haller in, I believe, either a series debut or a 2nd race of the season. And then it was Cody Cosgrove, Savian Ragser, Matt Kingsbury, followed by Kevin Fanning, then David Schofield, Jack Belton, Tim Brokaw wraps up your top 10. And then it was Harley Moss, Brian Son, then Asphalt Dennis, Steve Lane, Ray Kingsbury, yours truly, and then Cody Erdman, Justin Robichaux, Jeffrey Wallace, and Brandon Lambert with some issues on his end, wrapping up the field. Getting set here for our first review of the night, and a fantastic drive from him here as well. Christian Challenger, you did a fantastic job all throughout this event, but man, you had a fight on your hand all the way basically through that pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually put in a really good qualifying lap for once, so that was pretty cool, and I think that helped out a lot. I've noticed actually the past couple of races and whatnot that, well, more generally racing, actually I seem to be firing off pretty good on starts now, which is pretty cool. So I kind of was hoping I'd be able to take advantage of that, and I was a little bit. I was able to kind of pull myself and Michael away from the rest of the pack, which was, that was nice. It's fun to have a battle and whatnot, but obviously Indianapolis kind of being in a battle sort of cost me a bit. So I was keen to make this kind of as boring as possible, if I'm totally honest with you. And yeah, I was able to pull him with me. He then made a couple of mistakes, I think, at the chicane, and that gave me a ton of breathing room. And I mean, I hate that chicane. I think it's horrible, but the funny thing is that chicane actually, I think, is what saved me, really. It was probably the only place where I think I was actually maybe better than Michael, because elsewhere I'm pretty sure he was quicker. I could see him gaining around the lap and whatnot. But then in the chicane, either I would be a little bit quicker or I'd be even. If I hit it right, I would tend to pull away. And If I kind of just got through it averagely, he wasn't really gaining on me through there. So that was interesting. First time I've had something on track that I really despise actually helped me out. So I guess the chicane Lime Rock isn't so bad. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to pass around here anyway. It's just so narrow and whatnot. So I kind of figured as long as I stayed ahead of him, as long as I came out of the pit stop ahead of him, it's going to be difficult for him to really do anything. But it was unfortunate that he had that incident coming through the first part of the double left-hander. It was going to be a really tight battle. He was definitely close enough to try and move if he wanted to. So it was a shame that we didn't get that at the end. But it kind of swings back and forth a little bit with luck and whatnot. Obviously, last round I was pretty unlucky, but able to recover to second. This time around, he was pretty unlucky, but able to recover to second. So, yeah, kind of tired after that one, actually. Lime Rock's pretty bruising, really.
Yeah, under green flag conditions and everything like that, I think the biggest lead for either one of you before any, penalties or incidents or anything have happened, you guys have been pretty close all season, but you opened up the gap during that opening run to about 3 seconds at one point. What was it like just having a little bit of breathing room back to such a fierce competitor?
It's really nice, because that with kind of how close we are, that it takes a long time to close that gap down. 3 seconds, even on a good lap for him and a bad lap for me, the difference is probably like 2/10. So, he's going to be there in a while. I've got quite a bit if I have a 3 second lead and whatnot. So yeah, it's nice to have that buffer. Obviously, when he's kind of within a second, it's the opposite. It's pretty tight, and you can't make any mistakes because he's right there. And it's cool because last season Michael was really, really fast, but I felt like I was probably more consistent. And it's interesting because I think this season it's flipped around. I definitely think that Michael keeps getting better, and I feel like I'm still getting better with these cars, but I think his rate of improvement is just greater than mine. I think I have to kind of outsmart him really in races now, and not make mistakes, rather than just being like, I'm just going to push and try and pull away from him. I totally can't do that anymore. There was a point last season where that was possible. And I just can't do that now. I'm not able to pull away from him on raw pace. So, it's an interesting challenge. I mean, I would like to obviously get better so I can go back to doing that, but it does make for some good battles, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun to watch you battling against what I believe is about a 12-year-old. I know he's a young kid, but no, it's a ton of fun to watch here tonight, and you put on a spectacular show. But as always, anybody you want to thank who helped get you here?
I guess I'd like to thank all the kind of normal people that I normally thank, which is you guys for doing the stream. Obviously, everybody involved with running the league, and Michael for the good battle as always. And that's about it for this week, I think.
Yeah, Christian, thanks for a fantastic performance out there, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
That's Christian Challenger, your winner here tonight from Lime Rock. And up next, we've got your second place finisher with Michael. Janny, Michael, I know it's not exactly the finish you wanted to have with that mistake. What happened out there?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a race of lessons. Couldn't keep the consistency down at all. Bled so much time at the start. And every single time I had an opportunity to stick in Christian's draft, I overpushed it, and it was just like back to square one. I have to catch back up again and do the whole process over again. And not to mention Christian's fast. So it was a challenge. But yeah, the little mistake there, yeah, it wasn't my best moment. I kind of knew when I went that wide what was going to happen because that curve is disgusting. And I pretty much went into recovery mode the second I knew I was going to crash, because like I knew it was going to happen because I'd done it in practice before. And it was kind of like one of those like 90s intro TV show things where it's like it freeze frames and it's like, I bet you're wondering how I got here, right? Because it's like I'm like going in midair and everything like freezes. I'm just like, oh, is this really gonna happen? And then it happens, and you're like, ah. But I got super lucky that I didn't ding the rear too bad, so I could continue. But I don't know if you guys saw that at the end, but it wouldn't have even mattered if I stuck with Christian, because I underfueled by like it was over half a liter, so I was pretty much just clutching the entire last lap to not run out of fuel, and then I ran out of fuel at the start finish line. So yeah, race of lessons to be learned. That's basically what tonight was.
Yeah, Christian actually ran out of fuel on his cooldown lap, so you weren't right there. You definitely weren't the only one that was very close on fuel, but it was a fantastic drive from you. What's it like? This is the first time we've seen you actually lose a considerable amount of ground to him kind of during the race and have to make it up. What's it like kind of seeing him just kind of get smaller and smaller in your mirror?
If anything, it motivates me to go a little bit quicker. And the moments where I was catching a little bit, it's like this adrenaline rush where you're like, okay, if he makes a mistake, I'm back in that opportunity window. So like, I never viewed it as oh, he's quicker, which he is. He is quicker. I mean, it's funny because every week he's always like, yeah, I think you had the better pace, Michael. And then you look at the timing charts, and we're either like identical, or he's like marginally quicker than me, very marginally. But I think here he just had the whole consistency down. I mean, he literally made one mistake, and I saw him go a little bit wide coming into the chicanes, and that was it. So yeah, he deserves to win. Drove better tonight.
Hey, it tightens things up that much closer in the championship, and it's going to be a fantastic battle the rest of the way. But man, it was so much fun to watch you out there tonight. Unfortunate for that one mistake, but anybody you got to thank? Who helped get you here?
Yeah, of course. So some experience for sponsorship, Drive Dead Racing, and Livewire Sim. Wait, why the hell am I forgetting this? This is so bad. This is
Livewire
so bad.
Sim Sports. It's okay.
Thank you. Oh my god, dude, I'm gonna get murdered when I hop back into the VC. I had like the biggest brain fart ever, but yeah, and then for everyone watching me and you guys here in the booth. So yeah, thanks guys.
Well, hey, congratulations on the second place finish, and best of luck in a couple weeks at Barber.
Yeah, thanks, man. See you guys.
That's Michael Janney, your second place finisher here tonight, and one final interview to get us wrapped up for the evening. Michael Holler, I believe, is this your series debut? Is that correct?
That's correct.
How does it feel to get on a podium with such fierce competition around you?
It feels kind of wrong. I didn't expect to be up here for sure. I joined this because I knew that if I did officials, I would tank my iRating here and not be able to do the open wheel stuff I wanted. So this was a way to get my feet wet, and I mean, I guess I'm swimming now.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of a quiet performance. You had a battle there with Cody for a couple of laps, but for the most part, you were just kind of hot lapping out there. But man, what does it feel like, knowing the two guys that you finished behind were some of the top guys on iRacing with, I believe they're both over 6,000 iRating.
I mean, I didn't know that, so that's certainly surprising. I again just didn't expect to be up running at the front. I'm glad I could hang it with some people. You said it was kind of a quiet race. I feel like for the better part of maybe a quarter or a third of the race, I was holding about a second or second and a half on the person in front of me, whether it was, I think, Matt Kingsbury as well, and Cody. Definitely held with them, so I got some chance for close racing. There wasn't some bumper rubbing or anything like that, but had a good time, had a nice time. Definitely enjoy doing this, and especially I'm going to enjoy doing it on a track I like. I don't like Lime Rock.
Oh, it's a fantastic track. I said it on the broadcast. It's one of my favorites. I can't believe you'd disrespect it like that. But anyway.
Well, it's just the chicane. Like, if we're being honest, the rest of the track's fine, but the chicane's terrible. I like the classic where you, well, in the GT3s you get air, don't you?
Just a little bit, yeah. But
that's the right amount.
Hey, it was so much fun to see you out there tonight. And next, we got a couple weeks off, but then we go to Barber. What's your thoughts there on that track?
I adore Barber. Have a lot of fun there. It's a roller coaster of a track. I've only done it. I mean, most of everything I've only done has been open wheelers. I did some 24-hour stuff, but Barber's a great track. A lot of flow to it. A lot of precision. I love the corkscrew. But we'll see how it translates to the closed wheel tin tops.
It's going to be a fantastic show, and It's great to have you here in the series. It's so much fun to watch you out there tonight. I see you repping the Chicago flag on your car. What's the inspiration for your livery?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. I'm a Chicagoan, if you couldn't tell. I have skylines on the side too. And so I've been, I've been increasingly, probably with a lot of people, increasingly concerned about climate and climate change and how that's going to affect us in the future. So I started volunteering with a group called Citizens Climate Lobby, which is the sponsor that's on my car. And really like the work they're doing. They're targeting, trying to get good policies enacted for climate, because we need a lot of them right now. Had some good climate news in Illinois lately, but the federal stuff is currently in deliberation right now. So it's really exciting, and it's a charity that does a lot of really good work, and I'm happy to be involved with them. And would suggest anyone can look it up and take a look at what they're about. It's a good time.
Well, hey, guy from the region is the guy that runs this league, Mr. Josh Mertz. He'll be happy to grab a beer with you after work sometime. Talk about all this stuff with you. But hey, it was great having you out here tonight, and best of luck the rest of the way as we wrap things up. Anybody you want to thank?
CCL, as I did before, the charity here, and also want to thank my partner Valerie for putting up with me racing, and also the setup that I got for Watson Racing here. It was good. I didn't really look at it. I don't really know who put it together, but I had a good time putting it together. So it was good to be here, and I hope that this is not my last time up here. But I'm reserved about my future. So I hope that. I hope that I'm able to be this good next week, or next race, but no promises there.
Well, hey, congratulations on a spectacular race tonight, and congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
That is Michael Holler, your podium finisher, third place finisher in his series debut, and a great run for him here tonight. But as we wrap things up here, got to thank my color commentator that joined us from both in the car and on the track, Ray Kingsbury, as well as our sexy producer, Zack Johnson, that put this whole show on, as well as Josh Mertz, Kieran Big Dog Forrest, Brandon Lamberts, as well as a race sponsor, Seth Rawls. Check him out at Seth Rawls Designs for helping put this event on. Thanks to everybody that jumped into the Twitch chat as well. But make sure you join us next week on Monday when we take the Rallycross cars to Wild Horse Pass for another spectacular show there on the dirt. But hey, everybody here at NASA, Nitro Circus, ASN, and everybody that helps put these events on, we will see you next time here on twitch.tv/Nitro Circus.